might also come with jargons of fertilizers and what and confuse us more. Is that how did we get here as a country? How do we get ourselves out of it? Are we going to compensate our farmers? As simple as that, Chair. So that we even know who colluded with these suppliers. Are they going to be arrested? Will they be taken to court? Do we even know who the officers are? So as simple as that, so that we don't really go into the civil servant way with a lot of long stories, but at the end of the day, we are not going to go anywhere, Chair. And that is just a concern as they prepare to answer. Yeah, please, CS, remember you also on this side one day, and you know the questions that Kenyans have. Don't take us round. What you have done in just the way the civil servants answer questions, and then you have done it, then you go.
Chair, a report from his team. Chair, we're going to have a supplementary. Yeah. You know, my sister here was asking me which professor are we talking about. I've told her the Professor Theophilus and a professor of fertilizer. What actually Sabina is talking about is we need very straightforward and candid discussion on the matter of fertilizer. Number one, how did fake fertilizer end up in NCPB stores? What you've answered is how the fertilizer itself, but we are talking about the fake fertilizer, the SPL Innovate fertilizer. How did it get into the NCPB stores? The gel, what do you call, chemical fertilizer, the fake ones. You've told us that you signed a contract, the NCPB signed a contract to the SPL Innovate in 2022, that is on 31st March 2022, which is almost two years now. And then also in the same note, you've said every year you take samples to ascertain whether the fertilizer we have is okay or not. Now we've gotten ourselves to the quagmire of fake fertilizer. The samples for last year, are we able to know whether did you do the annual surveillance and what was the report on annual surveillance, whether the fake fertilizer was there or not, or this fake fertilizer, when did it start? When did the rain start beating us on the issue of the fake fertilizer? So what we're asking is, how did the fake fertilizer end up in NCPB stores? Because you know, a farmer will go to NCPB stores and trust that whatever is being sold in NCPB store is genuine and certified, unlike maybe outside shops where you may doubt. But when you go to an NCPB store today and you go and buy something there, people will know that I'm going to the right place. It's just like I'm going to buy seeds, a Kenya seed. I'll know I'm buying genuine and certified seeds, unlike when I'm buying at the back street there. So we want to know, how did this fake fertilizer end up in NCPB stores?
Point of order, Chair. One minute, Chair, because I was on a point of order, you didn't allow me to finish.
Okay.
So, you know, you can also not come and tell us the shortcomings of that case. And we have an act that is as old as 2012, in 2024. If they came here and said, we want you to assist us with 1, 2, 3, don't just tell us the shortcomings. I've seen, I don't know how many staff members. Is he also even proposing that in this committee that we need to amend or help them with the regulations? So those are the, you know, I think we need to talk about real things, Chair. If I'm allowed, we can put away these questions and let's have a conversation. And I think that is the best approach. Let's have a conversation instead of this question number 1 was this, question number 2 was this. But even the other question we can ask the CS, do you have other information that you think is important for ourselves and also even for Kenyans that we may know, because we may have missed it in our questions? So let's not just do this reading question 1, question 2, but let's have the conversation so that we save Kenyans and we know how to get ourselves out of here.
All right, members, I think we are jumping the gun. We were going to have a conversation with the CS. He has made his presentation. We will dissect the presentation and we should get the answers from him, from the questions that we are going to ask from now on. So probably I would like us to be a bit orderly. Let him respond to your point of order, whether from now on you are going to react to the issues that are there. And of course we shall ask you the questions.
that pertain to the issues that are ongoing right now. Then I think we'd like to be a little bit more orderly by taking a few more, then we can probably respond to the point of order. Yes. A lot of the Vice Chair.
Chairman, let me say that, I'm open to discussion, and I'm always willing and ready to share any information that I have. And I know, just like Sabina has put it correctly, that Kenyans are waiting for an answer. So if we leave this meeting without really telling them what it is, we will really not have answered or met their expectation. So if we were to discuss things generally without really having to go to deal with the issues of the questions, then we would be able to be more forthright, more open. But when Brighton and my friend asked about fake fertilizer, when you look at these questions, there is nothing like a question on fake fertilizer. So I cannot answer questions which are not have been asked. With a lot of respect, there is nothing. So unless if you really wanted me to mention about that story, which I can't because I don't know what you really wanted to interrogate through this question. But if we were to really say this is a conversation between the ministry and a team that gives us support, you want us to share openly because we mean well for our people, it becomes very, 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 very easy. So, Chairman, I do not have a problem. If there is any, I'm a very honest and very straightforward person when it comes to issues of public interest. And I am ready to give information without really even being forced to. But because the responsibility of ensuring that we have enough food in the country based on the president and I as a person running that docket, and you, because you are also representatives of the people, and when there is no food, you really have to work out ways of trying to really support our people. So our engagement on how we can do it better, I am ready.
Okay, thank you very much. You are ready. Now let's be systematic. And this letter was written after the expose, before a lot of fake fertilizer was found its way in the market, and many people now open their eyes to it. So I think we will have to ask questions as it were now. I will ask Honorable let him answer last night. Honorable
Chair, thank you. As I sit here, I represent the constituency that consumes the most fertilizer. In fact, more than 90% of all the other counties. And I can see from the figures so far, soy has consumed around 115,000 bags, which is just 30%. We are still waiting for more consignments. Chair, you remember at the floor of the House, I was particularly concerned on the slow distribution of the fertilizer that was happening. But I'm a worried man on the presentation of the CS, and I wish CS was actually on our side, because there are two facts, PS. One of it, why we are here, is because of the SPL Innovate, which I have also seen they have come with capital, 51 capital. Maybe we shall know which one is which. And the fact is, from the presentation of KEPS, what is on the back as the nutrients and what was tested is different. That's a fact. What they are selling, the composition of what they are selling, and the composition that the license was given for the organic fertilizer is different. That's a fact. The second fact is that, which has come from the ministry on your last press release, is that NPK 102610, that is from KEL Chemicals. We don't know the company that was supplied. We have not seen KEL Chemicals from the suppliers. Maybe you'll tell us which company is that. Was actually, from the presentation, that fertilizer is fake. You know, even from the last press release released by the ministry itself, and legal action has been from the last release was supposed to be taken. Those are fundamental facts that we need as this committee we are sitting. We need to know how did we end here. The other stories we can leave it for the presentation when you write. So on those facts, I want to ask the following. First is on the distribution. You know, PS, we are in a crisis. From the North Rift, we are supposed to be planting the latest by 10th, which is just 2 days from. Is it 2 days from now? The rains have been magnanimous enough. After for the last 3 days, it has not rained for purposes of us trying to finish. But we find out that there are no enough fertilizer in some areas, especially the North Rift. We don't know what mechanism. We want to know the mechanism the ministry used to distribute the fertilizer, so that we end up to a situation whereby farmers have been queuing and there is no fertilizer. Up to now, we still have the challenges. We know that you are saying there is a consignment that is coming, and our worry is, and the data is known by the ministry, our farmers, the last day they need to plant is on 10. If it extends so much, maybe on 15. Anything else, they'll result in the low production or in terms of production, and it will really affect the food security. So that is one. Secondly, on the issue of substandard fertilizer, it's a bit sad that we have two important authorities that are supposed to guard us against that. We have KEPS, which is actually the universal in terms of product quality, and then we have KEFIS, which actually deals with our agricultural inputs. Now, the fact, the fact is, SPL Innovate, that fertilizer, the soil composition or soil conditioner, we have a problem. KEPS have proved through tests that what they were given for them to be given license is different from what is being sold, and they have withdrawn. So we want to know, how did we get here? Whom do we pin? Do we pin KEPS because of the monitoring and supervision, or do we pin NCPP because they are also supposed to do quality? They have a quality assurance. Is it quality what? Quality assurance department, which are supposed to look at that. And we really want to know, from 2022 up to now, how much of this soil conditioner or fertilizer, whichever it is, how much has been sold. So those are facts that we need to get ourselves in. And lastly, on the issue of subsidized fertilizer, I wish we could not have gotten any fake subsidized fertilizer, but because we are there, we need to know this scale green, because they were blending. It is a blending factory. What was the initial capacity they were able to produce, and in terms of what they were awarded? We want to know, last year they were awarded how many bags? This year they are awarded how many bags? Because I sense if they were able to produce, maybe for calculative purposes, maybe their production is 50,000 bags per year, and you give somebody to supply 700,000 bags per year within 1 month. That is why he ended up collecting manure, fertilizer, and trying to package, and he didn't know how to granulize, and that is why we are in that mess. So we really want to know, and I think CS, we have a problem, and the best way is for you to join our side so that we can know really what happened, because in terms of proving that there is a problem that has happened, there is a problem that has happened. How did we get there? Thank you.
I think, CS, there's something you said which we need to correct. The fact that we have not talked about a fake fertilizer, and I actually want to refer to your document, touching on documents that are supposed to be provided to us to prove that what NCPB was distributing was okay. On page 9 of this document, the first, the second, paragraph. There is a paragraph that shows us from page 8 to 9. Now that paragraph, which starts with one Capital Kenya Limited. If you read that paragraph, it tells you that KEBS had all the documents. And these are documents marked as Annex 4. They are not here. You are saying you have provided the documents, but they are not here. So what are we dealing with? And these are the documents that are talking about the fake fertilizer, and the agency that deliberately distributes the wrong product. Maybe you can see more, or you would rather deal with that.
No, Chairman, I would want to take note of all those issues here that have not been provided, so that they organize another bundle for you, so that you can be able to clear your minds, on what document has been made reference to.
I think
to be honest, this, and ask for indulgence for tomorrow, but
for Wednesday,
for Wednesday, so that because I was out of the country for the whole of last week, now I've come this morning from mail directly to this meeting, so I'm also at times very neat in trying to check the annexes. So if I missed out, this is an internal issue that I will have to deal with, but please, I would beg to be given time to supply you with the necessary material that is not what is alleged to be annexed, which is not, because there is nothing, Chairman, to hide. And still again insist that open a conversation, then we can discuss.
Okay, I think you may have to reorganize your documents, because even the photo that you are mentioning on page 10 as Annex 4C is also not there. So there are quite a number of documents that are missing, and you need to give us a comprehensive report. But I think I would like to suggest this. Can I give members a chance to ask questions, and then you have the package, you know how to deal with it. So we are over to Honorable Kibagendi. Maybe you can take note.
Thank you, Chair. Mine, Bwana Waziri, is to ask why now? Why now? We have had the same companies doing this fertilizer tenders for the last 2-3 years, but this has never happened. This is the first time we are getting issues of the fake fertilizer. Now, given the backdrop of the harvest that we got last time due to the subsidized fertilizer, and we were almost food sufficient, do you think that maybe these are cartels that are coming back to sabotage our produce, to sabotage our harvest, so that they can import maize? Because why now? Last year it was a success story. The other year, as long as we have had subsidized fertilizer, it has been a success story. So why would we be talking about fake fertilizer now on the backdrop of a bumper harvest? Thank you.
Systematically now.
Now I can ask my question. One, I would like to know from the distribution how they do the checkpoints, and whether there is coding, whether they can be able to trace from the supplier and even to the farmer. So if the farmers complain, we can know what is genuine and not genuine. I would also want to know whether the ministry has a composition, because farmers use their money to purchase. How do you compensate those farmers who got the fake? I don't know whether it's the fertilizer or soil enhancer. I'm not so sure what it is. The other one, is he able to name, Chair? Is he able to name, and that is very specific, the supplier whose products have been flagged? Is he able to name for Kenyans to know? And then What steps is the ministry planning to do once you name the supplier? Are you blacklisting, or are you still going to do business with that supplier? And is it possible also for you to do a recommendation such that such a person who takes advantage of our innocent farmers will not be allowed to do any other supply in this country or do business with government? On your officers, I think I'd asked that question. What steps, if there are officers who didn't take the necessary steps, what steps are you taking on that officer? On the officers, and finally on KEFIS, I've seen many shortcomings. What is you asking from this committee? If it's about the amendment of your acts, if it's about the staffing, we are the committee that is responsible on the budgeting and everything else. What are you asking from us? I think there's some stuff I've seen, there are only 3 in the whole country. I think 1 in Italy and 2 in Nairobi. So I would like to see a proper document from KEFIS on what they're asking from this committee. And finally, maybe our CS is on the local production. Have your team done a proper research on local production of fertilizers? Do we have to keep on importing? Do we have a plan? Because farmers will be here. We are now working on food security. Is it cheaper for us to do the production here? How did it cost? We have all the raw materials. What is your asking or your recommendation from this committee so that we can also be able to build Kenya and buy Kenya? Thank you.
Okay, over to Honorable Double L.
Thank you, Chair. And my question to the CS, it is evident that we have seen both the national and the county government distributing the subsidized fertilizer. So why the duplication of the same, and how can accountability be tracked at the 2 levels of government? The next question that I would ask is, why was SLDR International exempted from supplying fertilizer on consignment basis? Thank you.
Honorable Salasio, you'll be preparing us now.
Mine is on the issue of Kenya National Trading Corporation. You all know aware that the Ministry of Agriculture is well mandated to purchase the fertilizer. How did it come and arrive that you gave it that mandate to the Ministry of Trade under the National Trading? And if I may ask, who influenced it and under which interest? Because you can see, even if it means that you have to do, where are those experts? Because there must be some experts, like if it's the ministry, it's just like non-pharmaceuticals. You cannot just give it the mandate to anyone else to purchase. So unless maybe there was an interest in that business, and maybe if it's good, you should also tell the committee who advised you and under which influence. Then there is this point that why was a Kenya National Trading Company given the responsibility of processing payment for the subsidy component of the financial year 2022-2023 long range, when the money was budgeted under the State Department for Agriculture? How was that money accounted for? And maybe the last one that maybe I would wish to know, before this expose, when we were going around looking for the information for the task force, we moved all around the country, and the report was very clear that the fertilizer that you are supplying was not good. Why did you just decided to keep quiet until today? Is when now you are trying to explain. It means that your experts are not doing what they are supposed to be doing. And then we have this one. How much did the NCPB charge as agency fee for each bag of GPC soil condition that was distributed by them? And if this thing was being done by 2022, then I've seen in your report, you are saying that you have come up with the policy in 2023. It's like it was like a scandal. Was it like a scandal just to get the money from Kenyans by just packaging the soil and selling to the Kenyans so that NCPB can get money to pay and maintain its whatever, pay its staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanis. Yes, my question is very simple. What analysis conducted by KPS on the GPC soil conditioner before its distribution began? Another one is the Kenyan currency has gained against major currencies in the world. What is the impact of this on the prices of fertilizer? Can I repeat it again? The Kenyan currency has gained against the major currencies in the world. Is the impact of this on the prices of fertilizers?
I think you can ask your questions before I ask mine.
Okay, Chair. There's Odanga, but Odanga, you have not introduced yourself.
I'm Geoffrey Makola Odanga, MP for Matayos and member of the Agriculture and Livestock Committee.
So, you may ask your question now.
Thank you, Chair. I want to know from the PS, from the CS, from page 5 of his presentation, if Chiroma Fertilizer Limited, which is supplied in every financial year, and Chiroma Fertilizer are one and the same company, or it's an error?
Okay, Jago. Are you done? Odanga, are we with you or you are done?
I'm proceeding, Chair. I also would like to ask the CS if this failure to provide data by the ministry on the number of farmers who are supplied with the fertilizer, and also by NCPB somewhere, failure to do that again, if this is something that should be entertained by a serious ministry. Failure to provide data. And we know data is very critical in anything that we should be doing to be able to justify and satisfy the Kenyan public. Then, why was the NCPB hesitant to allow the KEBS initially to enter into their stores and do the analysis? You know, initially that is what we were told here by KEBS, and then NCPB really denied that they take a very long route writing letters, and then why would that happen in an issue that is so critical like this one? Thank you.
Okay, Chair. I have a few questions. I'd ask one, and I want to ask the CS. There has been a pronouncement by the ministry giving different signals. The CS says there is no fake fertilizer circulating, and the PS is withdrawing some fertilizer which is fake, like kale chemical, just the other day. We want you to appraise us of that, because we need to know what is the real position. Number two, in all these, farmers have actually, in all this drama of supply of fake fertilizer, some farmers have lost. And this is a common question that we need to answer before we move out of this committee room today. Who will compensate farmers who tilled the land, who bought certified seeds, who went to NCPP stores and bought these fake fertilizers? Who will compensate the farmer? Because that is what we want to know before we move out of this committee room today. And I know from the records, especially those that we sold through NCPP stores, the SPL Innovate fertilizer, the kale chemical fertilizer, we are able to trace and know how many farmers bought these fake fertilizers.
we've been able to get reports from different government officials. Moses Kuria has pronounced himself of the number of fake fertilizer that we have. I had the PS also to talk about some numbers. I had also even the Deputy President gave a figure. We want to know the exact number of bags that are fake and that has been in circulation.
Okay, let me just try to wrap up a bit. First of all, there has been a hue and cry on the shortage of fertilizer. Many parts of the country did not receive the amounts in the adequate quantities that they would consider for their planting season. So what formula does the ministry use to distribute the fertilizer to different parts of the country, and how has it worked over time? And is the fertilizer procured by the government sufficient to satisfy the needs of the Kenyans, or to cushion the difference? Let me also go back to the issue of local production. The language of local production has been in the air, and is something that we need to revisit. We are praying that soon we will not be confronted with a budgetary allocation for a local production facility. We would like the CS to give us the cost-benefit analysis of a local production of fertilizer. Do we have sufficient deposits of the raw materials? Can we actually produce at low cost, or can we benefit from local production when we know that we have serious deficits of rock phosphate in this country? Then the other issue that probably you need to mention monitoring, inspection of fertilizers and testing of fertilizers. With this close monitoring, we know before NCPB did arrive at that contract to distribute the product from SPL Innovate, there must have been exchanges. We will be interested because there were conversations that basically preceded that. Well, we have heard about the challenges of KEFIS. You also said that you are doing something about KEFIS, and you also added more challenges on KEFIS. We would like to know the extent to which what you are trying to do will alleviate the challenges within KEFIS. And finally, you spoke about being able to access resources from Treasury, or rather prevailing upon Treasury, thanking Treasury for supporting in the fertilizer subsidy issue. We have an analysis to do on the amount of money given to you and the amount of money that has paid for the fertilizer. Those figures we will need a straightforward answer, as I said earlier, so that we can know how much of that has been, used for the purpose. Now, you seem to be so concerned about airing of the unscored and uncensored expose. Why is it so when KEFS has proved that GPC soil conditioner was substandard? Why is the concern? KEFS is a gatekeeper as well as a technical agent in this country. What is your interest in this matter, given that you're only a distributor of the same product as NCPB? Why is NCPB trying to play down to water down this issue? Thank you.
Chair, the peddlers and the vendors of the fake fertilizer thing, we've not seen any real action having been taken so far. What? Yes.
Finally, there is fertilizer outside here. I don't know who has dropped fertilizer. I think it would be good for us to see what it is. The President tells me there's a bag of fertilizer outside here. Let's see which brand it is.
Chair.
Chairman, I don't know whether it's my chance to speak.
It is.
You know, so many questions have been raised, and I will do my best to answer them. And let me, first of all, Chairman, start by saying, yes, I appreciate the Treasury. Not on the money. I think I appreciate the Treasury support for giving us some money to employ staff to build capacity. Cafes. So we're in the process of recruiting members or members of staff for now just put it down there. So, Chairman, I want to be very, very candid. And if there are things I will not personally accept,